Being a D-class for the SCP Foundation is a lot like playing Russian roulette. One day you could be assigned to a tickle fight with a friendly blob of slime, and next you're getting your femurs broken to lure a sadistic old man back into his containment chamber. So, when D-9781 was told to simply sit in an interrogation room and wait, he really didn't know what to think. But the last thing he probably expected to see was when the door behind him creaked open, was for a well-dressed stranger to step in. This man wasn't like any member of Foundation staff the D-Class had ever seen. He was a short Caucasian man with a receding hairline and a neat black mustache. Instead of the standard lab coat and shirt normally seen around the facility, this man wore a black waistcoat, a pair of white gloves, and a wry smile that betrayed a sinister intent. He looked like a butler, and not just any butler, but the quintessential butler. If you were asked to doodle a cartoon butler, this would be the man you drew. The D-Class almost laughed in sheer confusion. He had no idea that, in a mere moment, he would be dead. What's the deal, Jeeves?" he asked with a mocking half-smile, but he didn't get to hear a response. The butler approached at frightening speeds. The D-Class, in his last moments on Earth, saw the glint of something metallic under the overhead lights moving too fast for him to see what it was, and then felt a sharp pain across his throat. The butler was standing beside him now, still with that wry little smile. The D-Class could see now that the butler was carrying a small buck knife, dripping with red. Just as he was piecing together what had happened to him, the D-Class collapsed onto the table he was sitting at, his throat expertly slit. His grisly task completed, the butler gave a polite nod and exited the room, smiling at the Foundation guard standing outside. Who is this man? Why is he dressed like this? And most importantly, why is he allowed to murder D-Class personnel on Foundation grounds without consequence? We can answer that first question right now, because this isn't a man at all. He's the anomalous product of SCP-662, also known as the Butler's Handbell. First, we need to go back to the beginning and see how this anomalous object first fell into the hands of the SCP Foundation. Like a lot of anomalous objects now under the care of the Foundation, its true origins remain mysterious, and it spent quite some time underground. We mean that literally, by the way. It was buried with its last owner, a man whose name has since been redacted from Foundation files.
Marshall's is doing online shopping.
We got these from Marshall's. Aren't they so cute?
They're high-waisted, and I'm obsessed.
Clutched in this unknown man's skeletal hand, it was extremely likely that the bell might never have been seen again. But then a petty thief and grave robber by the name of George Dixon came along and dug up the grave. A simple, greedy act that has changed a number of people's lives forever. Not knowing the true value of what he held, Mr. Dixon made his way to a pawn shop for his payday. There, the store owner made the mistake of lifting up and ringing the bell. As if on cue, he heard footsteps approaching behind him. The store owner turned and gasped. He saw a complete stranger emerging from the stockroom behind him. He was a short, well-dressed man, smiling as he advanced towards him. The proprietor of the pawn shop didn't know who this guy with the strange outfit was, but he assumed he was an accomplice of the man in his store and that the two were trying to rob him. He grabbed a shotgun from underneath his counter, turned to the butler, and blasted him in the chest with both barrels. The butler fell back dead, and George Dixon fled the scene in a blind panic. Contrary to what the owner may have believed, nothing that happened here had been planned. Dixon was just as surprised as he was to see this mysterious butler emerge from the stockroom. So what had just happened? The pawn shop owner reported the incident to the authorities, and the butler's body was taken to the local morgue, while the silver bell ended up in a police evidence locker. Later that same night, things went from a strange bungled robbery to a full-on anomaly, attracting the attention of the SCP Foundation. First, the butler's body disappeared from the morgue the second the mortician took her eyes off of it, and then reappeared, now alive, in the police storage locker. Why? Because an unwitting sergeant just so happened to ring the little silver bell. Agent Bradford of the SCP Foundation was promptly on the scene. He pretended to be an FBI agent and escorted the butler off the premises, claiming that this was a notorious escape artist who was wanted for federal crimes in several states. Things didn't go as Bradford planned, though, when he discovered that the butler had disappeared from his handcuffs when no one was looking. Agent Bradford theorized that this had something to do with the bell, and he confiscated it for testing. Later, when he rang